99, 100. Just training my victory celebration. Now you join me here in the pain cave, and you might be wondering, since you clicked on the video, do I need to do gym work, lift weights as a cyclist? Well, yes and no. Now this is just going to be a little real world guide to whether you need to or don't need to go to the gym to, well, improve or not improve your cycling performance. Now I suppose the best way to start off is my experience, and I'll go through different scenarios where maybe you think, oh, that's me, that's what my situation is, and you can, decide to take the advice or not take the advice. It's up to you. But this is like a real world, example, and I'll try and remember all of the little details as well. I think that other people actually they just go, well, here's just, you'll do this, and they don't really think about all the other things. So yeah, stick around, subscribe, and if you enjoy the video and you get something from it, then give it a little like, and thank you for your time. So I started off doing gym work alongside the bike. So I'm in my mid-20s now, and I started off several years ago deciding that, I want to give a serious amount of time to training and getting fit on the bike. And I didn't really know what I was doing, and over the years, I've picked up all these tips and tricks and what's sustainable in a lifestyle, rather than, oh, I'm gonna jump into this, and if that doesn't work, I'll jump into this. So this is what I've sculpted and shaped in my life to be able to do something that's sustainable and healthy, and doesn't hurt me, and so on. So yeah, so I started off doing gym quite a lot alongside the bike and actually going to a gym. I do have some equipment here to I've bought over the years, but really it's not stuff that could survive really heavy weights like you see in the media, people like Jay Cutler and people like that who are lifting a lot of weights. So this is just stuff for normal people. So I picked up quite a lot of experience, and looking at what other people were doing and how to lift properly and not get injured and whatnot. So I was doing that alongside the bike, probably enough, and I was doing a little bit in school, but I was probably doing enough that I was gaining probably a little bit of mass that was noticeable. So my weight was probably, it was going up. And then so I was doing that quite a lot throughout the year, and then over the years I switched to just doing it in the winter months, so between maybe November and February, or October to early March, and then stop and then pick it up. And now this winter, so it's coming to winter now here in the UK, and last winter I didn't do any gym work, I just focused on the bike. So I'll take you through my scenario, and then I'll take you through other scenarios that maybe you can think, oh yeah, that's what I need. So the reason why I don't do any gym work now is because my goals in life, in my fitness journey, is that I want to get as lean and as fast as I can on the bike, on the road bike for road racing. So I want to increase my watts per kilo, so put out the most amount of power for the leanest weight. So if you're obviously going to the gym and you're doing that regularly, so 2 or 3 times a week at least, probably, if you want to see the return on your effort, you are going to increase your weight, and there are other factors. So it depends on your genetic response. If you have the receptors in your body that allow you to build muscle quicker than other people, and you can definitely notice that sometimes. Even some people they do leg day, but their legs don't grow, but their upper body grows, and that, you know, that's just genetics. There's not really anything you can do about that. So, you know, if you naturally do start putting on, you know, lean mass, then that means that you aren't going to be, for my goals, as quick as I could be. You know, if the road starts going up, I'm just not going to be going as fast as I want to. And I also focus now just on, you know, training on the bike through the winter, getting in as many hours as I can. You know, so if you take into account, you know, for me, so if I'm going to the gym, and I suppose really you can have stuff at home, but if you, for example, if you're starting off and you don't necessarily know how to, you know, lift the weight safely and have good form, then really you do need to go to the gym and have people around you who know what they're doing and can help you, and it can be safe. So, you know, if you're going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week through the winter, and, you know, that can take up a lot of time, you know, expense for paying for that. And I think the main thing is, you know, the time. So could you have spent those, you know, I would say never do more than an hour and a half in the gym, because if you're there for 3 hours, you basically just, most of that time is filled with just maybe standing around and not specifically getting to lifting the weights, and that's what you're doing. So, you know, if you are going to go to the gym, you don't need to be there for more than an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the most, because what you want to do is you want to go do the training and start recovering as soon as possible, so you can start either training on the bike the next day or for your next session. And yeah, so just an hour and a half, you don't need to do any more. But you could say, you could have, instead of doing an hour and a half at the gym, you could have been, you know, riding your bike, and maybe you drove there, and that's more time. So, you know, that's a real world example of, you know, adding that into your daily routine. It changes, you know, a lot what you do. So that takes up a lot of time during your week, and maybe adds a bit of stress and whatnot. And so, you know, I'm at the point where I could do it here, and I know the correct form. And, you know, if you aren't, maybe you're a bit rusty, you know, I'd recommend, you know, video yourself so that you can see your form, you know, when you're doing your squat, for example. But if you are thinking, well, people are telling me that, you know, I need to go to the gym to get faster on the bike. Well, if you want to get faster or better at doing something, at that specific thing, so cycling and getting fitter and at cycling, you need to do a lot of that to get good at it. And if you want to be good at lifting weights and be good at that, you have to spend a lot of time doing that. And people say, well, but there's a crossover, you know, surely if I'm doing weights, there's a crossover benefit to cycling. Well, you have to realize that, you know, anything that you do, you know, in sport, so fitness and whatnot, so if you're running or cycling or lifting weights, if you were just sitting on the couch and watching TV and not doing anything, then anything is better than nothing. Anything will get you fitter than just sitting down. So yes, if you're just sitting down doing nothing and you do weights in the winter, you'll be fitter than you were if you weren't doing anything. But if you want to get good at the sport that you want to do, so cycling for me and this for you as well, then you need to put time into getting fitter on the bike and getting faster on the bike by doing that. And yeah, you could say, well, there's a benefit to maybe my peak sprint power, for example, by lifting weights in the gym. Well, that might be true. So that's a scenario for you if you're looking to, you know, specifically target, you know, peak power output on the bicycle. So just 5-10 second sprints, for example. You have to take into account that's a very small sort of niche, you know, area in the sport. So if you're someone who's looking to want to get into track cycling because you can see already genetically that you maybe put on muscle quite well, you know, quite easily, and you find that you just naturally have that ability, you know, for track cyclists, for example, on the velodrome rather than out on the open road, then yeah, lifting very heavy weight at a low repetition, so you know, just 3 or 4 reps of a very heavy weight that's going to be more than your body weight. But again, this is a real world guide, so if you're doing that, you have to realize that the heavier the weight that you're lifting, the more chance you can get injured. You need to remember that it is dangerous, and if you do a quick Google search of gym fails, you'll be able to see that even people supposedly know what they're doing, there are some pretty horrific injuries. And I don't think it's scaremongering, it's just real life, you know. So take that into account, you know, you can get injured in the gym and it can lead you to be, you know, couch bound for weeks or months, and it just, you know, you need to take these things into account. You can get injured going to the gym, and 99.9% of the time you'll not get injured riding the bike. It's one of those sports, cycling, where a lot of people have done other sports and then they come across the cycling because they realize, well, I'm not going to get injured most of the time, unless you hit my car, but that's another story for another day. So if you're looking to, you know, as I say, look for the benefits of weight training along with cycling, there are some benefits for sure. You know, just in life, I like to promote on this channel, you know, lifestyle. So it's everything encompassing along with the bike and diet and everything that comes along with that in life. So yeah, if you don't necessarily do anything else other than ride the bike, so for example, you know, using your body in any other way. So at the moment, you know, the job that I have alongside, you know, the cycling is basically I'm paid to lift weights all day. In my job that I do, it's a manual job. So I'm not lifting really heavy weights, but I'm lifting enough that would be, you know, uncomfortable, you know, for hours of the day. And you know, I get that benefit of, you know, the physical exertion on the body. So yeah, obviously it increases the strength of your body, so your bones and your muscles and ligaments and tendons and everything. But it will, if you're someone who just sits on the couch and does nothing, then obviously your body's getting no stimulation, and therefore you're not getting fitter and faster and stronger in any way. So anything that you do other than just sitting down doing nothing will make you fitter and stronger in some way. But if you want to get good at one specific thing, then you need to target that a lot and do that a lot. You know, just practice makes perfect. But if you're looking maybe to, you know, you don't care about being as fast and as lean on the bike as you want, and you want to, you know, look good when you take your clothes off at the beach, then you're going to want to target, you know, just building your muscle size, which is more, you know, lower weight, not really low, like just a piece of paper, but still heavy, but it's probably going to be less than body weight, and you're going to do more repetitions, so it's going to be more like 10 to 15. And also when you're lifting lower weights, less weight, you're going to reduce the chance of injury as well alongside with that activity. And say if you want to just look good, then yeah, it's less weight and more repetition. But again, you know, that's what you want to do, that's fine, and then you can ride the bike alongside that to, you know, increase your fitness, you know, your heart and your lung fitness. And you know, a lot of people who do the gym as their, you know, sport or hobby, and that's their main thing that they focus on in life. The amount of times you'll find that they'll, you know, people who joke among themselves who go to the gym, they say, oh, I need to get more cardio, because, you know, realistically the most important thing in life, you know, it's the cardio side, it's the heart and the lungs, you know, the capillaries and the, you know, blood vessels, and that's what is your fitness. You know, it's no good being, you know, really strong. You can take your luggage to the car, but if you need to just go up a flight of stairs and by the time you get to the first flight you're out of breath, you know, that's a sign that you physically are not healthy in the most important ways, which is your heart and lungs. And you know, heart and lungs, you know, is what is important. The gym stuff is more, realistically, it's more just about, you know, your own personal goal, and you get, you know, you enjoy seeing the change in your body, but really it's just about, you know, aesthetics, really about what you look like. And just, yeah, you can be proud of what you look like in a mirror, and anything you should do is, you know, for yourself. You shouldn't be doing it for other people, really. You know, in life the most important thing is you do something and you get the benefits because you're doing it for you, and then other positive benefits are that, you know, you can maybe inspire other people and whatnot. But so I want to inspire people to go fast on a bike and get lean and healthy, and to do it without getting injured, and you can do it every day. And you know, another one, you know, diet. So if you're wanting to be as lean as possible, then you have to think, you know, a good analogy I think is, so if you want to eat like, you know, Homer Simpson or a sumo wrestler, then you eat the Homer Simpson diet, which is, you know, a lot of fat, a lot of protein, and then sugar sprinkled on top for taste or whatnot. And that you know, a lot of protein, a lot of fat makes Homer Simpson look like the way he does, doesn't he? Big and fat. He doesn't even lift weights. And again, a sumo wrestler, they're huge because they eat a lot of protein, a lot of fat. And if you want to be able to put on this mass, the lean muscle mass really is what you want, isn't it? You know, you're gonna have to add more protein into your diet. And you know, if you're gonna do that, I'd recommend pea protein. So you can get up to, I think, 80 or 90%. So per 100 grams of pea protein, you're getting like 80%, so 80 grams of protein, and it's all, the amino acids are all there. You don't need to worry about, I did not get my essentials. They're all there. All plants have all the essential amino acids because that's where amino acids come from in this world. They come from, or all of the essentials, they come from being synthesized in plants, and animals eat the plants and so on. But that's maybe another video for another day. But another reason why I don't go for adding extra protein is because, firstly, you don't need to as an endurance athlete. You don't need to worry about your extra protein. So for me, I'm eating rice, fruit and sugar. Plenty of protein in the rice, and there's protein in the fruit as well, so I don't need to worry about that. But you have to realize, you know, another consequence of increasing protein intake in your diet is, you know, it will reduce, you know, the sensitivity of your body to insulin, so slightly increases insulin resistance, which means, you know, your fasting levels are going to be higher, insulin levels are going to be higher, which, you know, insulin is a very anabolic, you know, it's very anabolic steroid, and I suppose we might as well talk about that. So if you want to see the biggest, you know, gains, in inverted commas, from lifting weights and getting bigger, then yes, taking drugs, and I don't ever recommend doing any drugs in any scenario in life. Everything, if you want to live the best life, the healthiest life, the most enjoyable life long term, then no drugs. That's no caffeine, no anabolics, no nothing, just enjoying life naturally as it's, you know, meant to be enjoyed. But if you want to see the biggest returns, you know, in the short amount of time, and it's not healthy, and I don't recommend it, but yes, anabolic steroids are what you see in the media. That's what, you know, on social media, people who are huge, again, like I think I mentioned Jay Cutler, people like that, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, people today, they take anabolic steroids to look as big as they are. They're not just going to the gym and lifting weights and eating lots of protein, they're taking anabolics as well. So you need to remember that. But again, we'll bring it back to cycling. So yes, there are some benefits to a fairly small group of people, you know, if you're looking to increase your peak power output. But again, you know, you have to take into all these other things, you know, in your life to create, you know, a sustainable, enjoyable lifestyle. So really, when I went to the gym, you know, I didn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy doing the gym stuff, the circuit training or whatever, but I do enjoy riding my bike for hours on end, and that gets me really fit. I can do that every day because I enjoy doing that, and it's sustainable, and the rest of my life is not affected in particularly any bad way, other than when I fall off, but I never usually do. So I don't usually get injured, otherwise it's okay. Yeah, but if you're doing nothing besides the bike, you know, and I've always throughout my life been, you know, I've always enjoyed being, you know, very physical and using my body, and you know, I'd never have had to worry about my muscles or my bones wasting away. You know, so if you're worried about that, then you know you can do that, but you know there's not necessarily any, you know, evidence to suggest that, you know, doing, you know, a lot of cycling and then leads to, you know, terrible health consequences. There's only, you know, benefits of riding the bike. It's just specifically to you whether you think you need to add the gym work to your life to improve the goal that you're searching for, which again really is very specific. And you know, if you're starting out, let's say in late October, and you want to start adding gym work in, you know, there's going to be weeks and months where if you're doing gym work properly, squats and whatnot, you know, for at least the first few weeks you're barely going to be able to walk, you know, and you're not going to enjoy your cycling, and it's going to take you at least months to, you know, if you're doing it properly, gym properly, you know, it takes a lot of effort to do that, and it's to get the same amount of volume in cycling training. You know, it's going to be really uncomfortable, it might hurt at first, motivation is really, you know, going to take a dive. So I mean, when I first, you know, and I've experimented to make sure that, you know, what I'm talking about, I know what I'm talking about. So I remember doing winters in the past where I've added gym work in, and you know, I've hated it, and I've not seen the benefits of, supposedly a lot of people say go to the gym, but you know, it's specific to you. So you know, again, that's another, you know, looking at it as a lifestyle rather than just forcing yourself to do things that you don't enjoy. You know, your body will have to adapt to something that's very new to it, and that takes months. It always takes months. Nothing happens overnight. You need to remember that whenever you make a change to your lifestyle, there will be a time where you need to adapt to that, so mentally and physically, and it takes months. When you're lifting weights and it hurts a lot at first, you're very sore and it's not very pleasant. Now I suppose, you know, if you want to, you know, just, you know, take this advice and you can, you know, see, well, what goals really do I want to achieve? You know, so for me, as fast as possible on the bike and as lean as possible, and that's what I enjoy, and I can do that at winter after winter and summer after summer. But if you want to say, you know, you maybe want to look a bit, you know, nicer, when you can, you know, you don't want to be looking like this quite so skinny little, you know, cyclist, as they, you know, the joke, you know, you take your top off and you turn sideways and you disappear because you're so thin, then yeah, you can add in the gym, and you know, but a lot of these things, you know, changes in lifestyle, you know, it's changing lifestyle, So you have to take that into account. Nothing happens overnight. So I hope this advice helped you, and maybe you thought a bit more about, rather than just jumping straight into doing some gym work this winter, you maybe take a step back and have a look at your own goals and what you want to achieve. So if I just recap and say, if you want to target your sprint, because specifically that's what you want to do, 10-second power, but really for an endurance sport like cycling, it's not going to help you. If you want to do these longer efforts and be an endurance athlete, then you want to be as lean as you can. Just look at the runners as well. The runners that we see who are winning all the races, they're very, very lean, and they do mainly, just like the leaner cyclists, just a lot of endurance sport, and that's how they get good at that. And again, if you want to get good at lifting weights, then do that. And I've learned this from personal experience, so I'm not just taking what other people say and just going, okay. This is what's happened, with what I've done in my life, and I'm not some freak of nature where either my body can't adapt, or my body adapts really well. I'm just like everyone else, and I'm sure a lot of other people have had the same experience that I have, and maybe get frustrated when people are saying certain things. So this is real world examples of what I've done and what works, and what I know works and what I know doesn't work. So if you want to get as fast as you can on the bike and target that, then and get lean, then it's no gym. But if you want to go down the gym route as well, you can. But there are consequences. There's always consequences to our actions, and especially with your fitness, you'll definitely notice an impact on your cycling if you add in gym, positive or negative. Well, you'll find out. So if you want to experiment for your own self and find out what I say, think I'm talking a load of rubbish, well try it yourself and you'll find out what you want to do. Maybe you might decide that you want to give up cycling and just lift weights, but I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend cycling as part of your lifestyle and enjoying life, rather than maybe doing gym to look good for other people, rather than doing it for yourself. I think I covered everything. I'm trying to think whether I've missed anything out. I think I've done everything, covered everything. So I've looked at the studies, looked at the science, and I understand. If you look at everything, there's always people say, oh yeah, but this says this, and it looks like this does this. Well, this is only trying to replicate what we do in life. These scientific studies. So first-hand, real-world experience really is the best advice to go on, because you can actually see what happens to people and take away that advice that works, rather than going through it yourself and just finding out, well, really this didn't work for me. You need to tailor it to what you want to do. Do you want to go fast? Do you want to go slow? Do you want to look lean? Do you want to look big? It's up to you. But just take these things into account, before just jumping into, and maybe you see your first time doing gym in the winter, and go for it and see what happens. Maybe again you enjoy it, don't enjoy it. Anyway, I hope this video helped, and if it did, then like and subscribe, and I'll keep the information coming whether you find it helpful or not. Anyway, thank you for your time, and hopefully see you in the next one.